Okay, truth be told, writing a comparative essay on ancient Athens and ancient Sparta is not going to be that fun, but you know what is going to be fun? Being given a graphic organizer to help us easily get an A on this assignment. Now, that's fun. All right, so let's get to it. This is part 2 of how to complete our comparative essay on ancient Athens and ancient Sparta. This part we've already done. I already went over this on part 2. We have 3 ways that Athens, the city-state of Athens, and the city-state of Sparta were different. They were different in terms of their government, their focus, and the role of women in both societies. They were similar in 3 other ways. I won't bore you with the details because, well, that was already done in part 1. We're going to move on to our next section, which is going to be how to actually complete this essay. This essay is going to have a total of 5 parts to it. We're going to have an introduction, a paragraph that compares the 2 city-states, a larger paragraph that contrasts the 2 city-states, and then lastly, what you're going to do is you're going to identify if you would have wanted to have been a citizen of Athens or Sparta. I apologize, that's 4, not 5. And the way we're going to do it is, I'll give you an example of an introduction, and in the comparison section, that information is going to come right from your graphic organizer where you compared Athens and Sparta. Your contrasting paragraph is going to come right from your section where you identify the differences between these 2 city-states, right here. So really, most of our essays will read very similar to each other's. The way it's going to be different is at the end where we say which city-state we want to be a part of. To go back to the instructions here, you're going to compare and contrast Athens and Sparta. You're going to show 3 ways that they were similar and different. We use the graphic organizer for that. And lastly, identify the city-state you would have wanted to have been a part of and why. You can't really get that part wrong. I'll go over that in a moment. As long as you're on topic with whatever characteristics Athens and Sparta had. All right. First, we want to start off with an introduction. And what basically, and again, this is going to read very similar. Similarly across, all students because we're all doing the same thing, right? I'll read my introduction to you here. It says, the ancient Greek civilization contributed to our modern day civilization and government in several ways. Today, we look at our government, the arts, and society differently thanks to the contributions of ancient Greece. The Greek city-states of Athens and Sparta provided to be examples of these contributions. However, while these 2 city-states shared similarities, they were also different in many ways. The idea here, guys, is that you want to make sure that you are, I like my little focus tool here, I know. I get a little crazy with it sometimes. All right, so here in our introduction, okay, the focus is we're all doing some things that are similar, right? We are all comparing and contrasting 2 ancient Greek city-states of Athens and Sparta. However it is that you want to say that or dress that up or make it your own, you do that. But the introduction for all of us is kind of the same. We're all going to be talking about how 2 ancient Greek city-states, Athens and Sparta, were similar in some ways and they were different in other ways from each other. However you want to do that. Then we're going to be going to our first paragraph. Now I chose to compare first. You can choose to identify how the differences were. It doesn't matter to me. Either order is totally fine. All right, in my comparing paragraph, as you remember from our graphic organizer, we're going to be comparing. I gave you 3 ways that these 2 city-states were similar, right? They are similar in that they were both powerful, they both spoke Greek, and they both denied different members of society to be a part of politics or government. So, however it is that you want to make your comparisons, that's fine. If you're confused or you can't remember your points, go right back here to your comparison, and you have your points there from your graphic organizer that you've already created. Okay? Next, we're going to say how the two societies were different, right? If you're not sure on how they were different, sorry if I'm getting a little too focus happy there. As you're saying how they're different, remember they were different in 3 ways, right? And again, this comes right from here. If we go back to our last video for part 1, government, focus, and role of women that played in society were different for the two city-states, right? The focus in Athens was education. The focus in Sparta was military. The government in Athens was a democracy. The government in Sparta was an oligarchy. And the role of women in Sparta were focused on being physically fit to take care of a family. And the women in ancient Athens took on what were called, quote, traditional household roles, such as, taking care of a home, educating the children, and things like that. So how it is that you want to say that, I will, you can leave this, you can slow this down and slow this video down or pause it. You don't want to slow it down because then I'll be, reading it like do powerful and well, that just gets kind of annoying. So you can just pause it, take a look at what I have here, and don't forget to make it your own. You know what I mean? Like if you're writing exactly my paragraph where I can contrast the two city-states, that's not really your own work. Not really smart to plagiarize your teacher who's, oh, by the way, going to be grading this. So, but anyway, that's a rookie mistake. A lot of you won't do that. All right. Let me see. So where were we at? So we have our introduction. We have our comparison section. We have our contrasting section. And you can do that in either order. It doesn't matter to me. And then lastly, you want to identify which city-state you would have wanted to have been a part of. Okay, so if you wanted to have been a part of Athens, it might read something like this. In ancient Greece, I would have wanted to be a citizen of Athens. I think a democratic form of government is important because several people are involved in helping to make decisions. Also, there is an emphasis on education in Athens, and I think being educated does more for society than being physically fit does. That's fine. That's your opinion. It goes right along with the ideals of Athens, so that works. Or you could say, in ancient Greece, I would have wanted to be a citizen of Sparta, even though education is important to me. Being physically fit is also important, particularly at this time in history. With all the city-states trying to make themselves most important, there were certain to be many battles and wars to gain control of the Mediterranean region. If I'm going to battle, I want to be the best prepared as I can be. Being a citizen of Sparta, I would be the most prepared for upcoming battles and war. If we look back in history, Sparta was the city-state that beat Athens, so I would have wanted to have been on the winning side. It's a true statement, by the way. So it doesn't matter. These are all details that are accurate in terms of Sparta. You can choose either one. You don't have to do both. And obviously, that wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. You're going to choose one. All right. So sometimes I think you guys kind of get a kick out of when I give you non-examples. Okay. So this is not quality work or things I don't want to see. Okay. First of all, I don't want you to just give me a list. Okay. Your essay is not just a bulleted list. Athens, education, democracy, traditional roles for women. Now, these points are accurate. It's not an essay. Okay. So don't just write bulleted points. You can do this to get started back in the graphic organizer phase, but this is not an essay. These are bulleted points. Okay. I don't want you to just, this is also not an example of quality work. In Athens, they focus on school and stuff plus democracy, and girls had to stay home and they had to help some kids in the house. In Sparta, they focus on military and they fight the government, and the women are tougher. This is why we say, this is Sparta, real loud. Thank you, reading my essay. Now I'm ready for my A plus please and thank you, the end. Yeah, yike a mama. Hopefully nobody creates something like that. That is not very good. Anyway, I know sometimes you like seeing those non-examples as well, which is why I'm showing that to you. Anyway, that concludes part 2. Good luck. Don't forget, each part of your graphic organizer goes with each part of the essay that you're going to be creating, comparing ancient Athens and with comparing and contrasting ancient Athens with ancient Sparta.